Many of you have probably been waiting on this, as have I. But the WNBA All-Star Game ratings have come out, and all I could think of right off the bat was 4 little letters. F-A-F-O. F around and find out.
Jacy Sheldon's hit on Caitlin Clark's groin didn't just bench the league's biggest star during its most high-profile week. It sparked a financial disaster the WNBA is scrambling to downplay. What should have been a weekend of celebration turned into a ratings flop, as viewership plummeted without Clark in the spotlight. But instead of addressing the obvious, the league is still pretending everything's fine. The numbers tell a different story, and they expose where the WNBA's real priorities lie. So what was the actual drop in ratings with Clark out? And how did the WNBA commissioner respond to the growing backlash? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This was more than a missed game, it was a train wreck. If you saw it coming, wait until you see the numbers we're about to break down.
We have numbers for the most exciting, entertaining, overwhelmed with joy WNBA All-Star Game we have seen in quite some time. We have ratings for that disaster as well. There's good news and there's bad news.
So, what sparked all of this? It all unraveled on July 13th. During what should have been a routine play, Jacy Sheldon drove her knee directly into Caitlin Clark's groin. The contact wasn't subtle, it was blatant. Clark instantly doubled over in pain, clutching herself as the crowd watched in shock. But the referees, they stood there and did nothing. No foul, no review, not even a pause in play. It wasn't just a miscall, it felt like a deliberate attack that went unchecked. Now, new footage confirms just how intentional the hit was. Sheldon's knee makes clear, direct impact, and Clark's pained reaction, the grimace, the way she grabs herself, the visible distress, says it all. This wasn't a basketball collision. It was a cheap shot in plain sight, ignored by the very people meant to protect players.
Referees was completely ridiculous. The referees was a complete disaster.
And immediately grabbed the inside of that right leg.
And this wasn't the first time, either. All season long, Caitlin Clark has taken hits that would never be tolerated if it happened to anyone else. Elbows to the head, blindsided shoves, eye pokes, and brutal fouls that somehow go uncalled. The pattern is impossible to ignore. When it comes to Clark, players seem to get a free pass, and the refs keep letting it slide. It's like the league has turned a blind eye while their biggest star is treated like a target.
And last year, I noticed how much it was just Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was taking all the hits. Caitlin Clark was taking all the abuse. But this year they've added Sophie Cunningham. She gets more flagrant fouls on her than anybody in the league besides Caitlin Clark. And Aaliyah Boston, she's been taking hits as well. But the worst thing is the consistency. So they don't call flagrant fouls, or most of the time, Caitlin Clark could be held for an entire game at a time. They don't call fouls. They don't call common fouls. But then when it's the Indiana Fever, guess what? Touch foul here, touch foul here. They call absolutely nothing.
As soon as news broke that Caitlin Clark would miss the All-Star Game due to injury, social media erupted. Fans wasted no time linking her absence to Jacy Sheldon's controversial hit. But the real eye-opener came when ticket prices suddenly plummeted. The financial blow was swift and severe, revealing just how deeply Clark's presence influences the league's bottom line.
Caitlin Clark gets hurt, and guess what? Your demand vanishes because people ain't going to pay up to see these athletes that are ungrateful that their sport's growing. People aren't paying up for that. And we are here, right here. The tickets for this game, for this All-Star Game, they've dropped by 50%.
Before Caitlin Clark's injury was announced, the WNBA All-Star Game was on pace to break records, with average ticket prices hitting $262, the highest in All-Star history. Even the cheapest seats were going for $121, a clear sign of sky-high demand. This was shaping up to be the league's biggest payday of the year. But the moment news broke that Clark wouldn't play, everything unraveled. Within hours, the get-in price plummeted from $121 to just $64, a stunning 48% drop overnight. The secondary market collapsed as fans rushed to sell their tickets at huge losses, unwilling to attend an All-Star game without the one player they came to see.
You bleep around and find out what this league looks like without Caitlin Clark being involved in your biggest events. Kathy Engelbert, this should be a perfect example of why you need to get your officiating cleaned up, and you need to have a talk with your players in the league. And nobody's asking you to hold Caitlin Clark's hand. Just play fair.
You know what this proves? The referees didn't just miss a foul during Sheldon's play. They triggered a financial disaster. By failing to protect Caitlin Clark, they didn't just compromise player safety. They cost the WNBA hundreds of thousands in ticket revenue. One blown call turned what should have been the league's biggest showcase into a money-losing embarrassment. And that was only the start of how deeply this injury would reveal the WNBA's total reliance on its brightest star.
You see, this is exactly what we were talking about. WNBA All-Star ratings are in for 2025, and it is down 40%. 40% from last year. That's bad. That is really bad. We already watched the ticket prices drop by more than 50% because Caitlin Clark was not playing. This is bad news for the WNBA, and this should be a wake-up call.
For the first time all season, Gainbridge Fieldhouse showed visible empty seats during a major WNBA event. The sight was shocking. Entire sections with gaps where Clark jerseys and cheering fans would normally be. And this wasn't just any matchup. It was All-Star Weekend, the league's biggest celebration. But Clark's absence changed everything, sparking a silent fan boycott the WNBA couldn't ignore or spin. The numbers speak for themselves. Every single Fever home game this season, and last was a sellout with Clark on the floor. Without her, the seats and the excitement vanished.
It's clear fans sent a blatant message, a shot across thou bow. All right? And your ship, well, without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA and all their pay us what you owe us action, that action will sink. That action will sink.
Think about what Caitlin Clark brings every arena she steps into. Standing ovations during warm-ups, merch lines stretching around the block, packed bars and restaurants hour before tip-off, and sold-out hotel for miles. That's the Clark effect. She doesn't just sell tickets. She turns entire neighborhoods into basketball festivals. Her absence from the All-Star Game exposed the full economic weight she carries. As soon as she was ruled out, ticket resale platforms like StubHub and Vivid Seats were flooded with listings. Fans who had paid top dollar were suddenly desperate to sell, even at steep losses, just to avoid a Clarkless event. Hundreds of dollars lost per ticket, and that was just the beginning. Merchandise sales plummeted without Clark jerseys flying off shelves. Concession stands, prepped for record-breaking crowds, served far fewer customers than expected. And local Indianapolis businesses, who had staffed up and stocked up, watched their All-Star Weekend revenue projections vanish overnight.
But when it comes to the vendors in the arena, the shops in the arena, they're not going to have the same amount of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was there. The surrounding restaurants, the surrounding areas, the surrounding attractions, they're not going to have the same number of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was healthy.
Let's be honest. This situation laid bare what the WNBA has been trying to avoid. Without Caitlin Clark, their events feel like just another basketball game, and most fans simply tune out. The All-Star Game still had big names like AJ Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu, yet none of them could come close to generating the buzz Clark creates just by showing up. The empty seats and slashed ticket prices were only the surface. The real issue ran much deeper, and the league couldn't hide it anymore. The TV ratings were about to make it painfully clear just how many millions of fans chose to skip the WNBA's biggest showcase once Clark was no longer part of it.
They play against Breanna Stewart. She goes to the line 14 times. A'ja Wilson goes to the line 13 times. And Aaliyah Boston can't play 20 minutes in a game without being on the bench in foul trouble. That's another problem that we're dealing with. But like I said, this year, it's not just Caitlin Clark. If you wear that Indiana Fever jersey, consider it done. The refs are not going to be fair, and they are going to cheat and do whatever it takes to do what the higher-ups say.
Angel Reese's mishandling turned what should have been the WNBA's biggest celebration into a full-blown PR nightmare. Empty seats, slashed ticket prices, and plummeting ratings painted a bleak picture, completely overshadowing what was meant to highlight the league's growth. Instead of celebrating progress, All-Star Weekend exposed a brutal truth. The WNBA's success revolves almost entirely around one player they failed to protect, Caitlin Clark. The financial fallout made that clear. A 36% drop in ratings and a 48% crash in ticket value aren't just numbers, they're warnings. The league's future depends on keeping Clark healthy and on the court, but its own referees continue letting her take uncalled hits. This is no longer just about one injury, it's about survival. Kathy Engelbert and WNBA leadership must fix the broken officiating before they lose their most valuable star. Support Clark's recovery and the Fever's title hopes by demanding accountability. Comment *** WNBA train wreck *** if you saw this disaster coming. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications for more hard-hitting coverage.